Hello, everyone. Hello, YouTubers. It's Anonymous T. Hope you're having an amazing day today. So today we are talking Ready to Love Potomac Reunion Part 2. And in this video, we are discussing all of the problematic things that is wrong with Ready to Love, you guys. We need to revamp. I've said this a million times, but I'm going to keep saying it until somebody listens, until somebody revamps the show, because we cannot have problematic men on the show who are petty, who are messy, who are gaslighting, who are giving half-a apologies. I apologize if you feel this way. I apologize if you were hurt by what I did, but not a genuine apology for what you actually did wrong, and no accountability and no responsibility of wrong behavior. Also had an issue with how hard in the paint Tommy was going towards the women. Like, you go hard at Precious for, her reaction, but you say nothing to the men. You let the men say whatever they want to the women, and that's not okay. And then you take Tina to task and gaslight her into asking you if you want an apology. Like, what is going on? I don't understand. There was a time in the beginning of the show where Tommy was unbiased, where Tommy held everybody accountable regardless. And now all of a sudden, it's like if you're Tommy's pet, he's not going to go in on you. And if he's somebody that, you don't like or whatever, or you're trying to coddle certain people, you go in on the wrong people who don't deserve it at all. And I felt that treated Joy and Clifton with kid gloves, because they were the only successful couple of the season. But there should have been a lot more checking that was taking place, because how can you say at the beginning of the episode, this is, catty high school behavior, but then let Joy pop off like that to Dakia? Knowing you just showed a segment proving Dakia's point that there was a valid connection between her and Clifton. Now, whatever nonsense Clifton told Joy behind the scenes, that's on him. But he clearly was also telling Dakia something else, enough for her to have hope that there could be a potential there to move forward in their connection until she got to the cabin. But I'm just very disappointed, and I don't know if Tommy needs another break from hosting these reunions, because he seems very over the show. He seems very checked out. It's kind of at the point like how Andy Cohen is now when you watch like Real Housewives and you watch like the reunions and you watch his specials and everything else. You could just tell like his demeanor and his disgust with certain housewives that he's just over them and wants to be done with them. And it comes across, like very disgusted, very agitated. Then you're defending, bad behavior, and then you're sticking up for the people who are problematic. And then it pisses off the viewers because it's like, what the heck? And I feel like we just need to revamp. We need better casting of the men. Tommy's up here elevating these guys like they're prizes, like they're the cream of the crop of the DMV. And it was just very disturbing. It was just very disturbing. None of these women are missing out on anything, you guys. Not with how petty and messy these men have been and how much they want to be in front of these cameras. They're more on the cameras now than they were on the show. Make it make sense. But I'm just agitated. Like, this show used to be very entertaining. It used to be very mature, both male and females who were mature, and had real conversations about their feelings to one another. And it wasn't all this pettiness. It wasn't all this scheming like it's a game. And, everybody now just wants to see how they can get to the end versus cultivating and building real connections. And I'm just over it. And all this petty drama, having, women fighting over the same guys once again, having the guys be petty if the women that they like, don't choose them, so they decide to sabotage them in retaliation. Men lying about multiple connections that they have, and gaslighting and, leading on other women so that they don't get kicked out of the game early. Like, it's just too much. It is absolutely too much. These people are grown and they are too old to be conducting themselves like this. This reunion was on 100 for no reason. Everybody was turned up for no reason. And it just really took away from a decent season. And all these people just came in with all this energy, and it just wasn't necessary. It wasn't necessary at all. And can we stop casting the clout chasers, the people who are there to promote their business, promote their brand, promote their singing career, promote their books, promote their, whatever. Like, it's just very exhausting because they do all this fake stuff that you can see through their gameplay. And then when they get called out at the reunion, they're like, oh, I have no idea what they're talking about. That's really crazy. But they're literally all over social media every single day since the show has aired, trying to be seen. And it's like, I can't take it. And this show is not ready to love anymore. It is ready to have sex. It is ready to hook up. It is ready to do inappropriate things when the cameras go off. And that is also tainting these connections because people are mixing their lust for genuinely getting to know whether or not somebody is compatible for them. And as a result of this, there's different levels of intimacy for the people who have multiple connections that take place, and the person that you were the most intimate with, you seem to have the most volatile relationship with because you couldn't commit to whatever it is that the two of you were doing behind closed doors. So you decide to be petty and go with your second or third choice to, see if that'll get a reaction out of the person. And it's just very exhausting. Like, this is not adult friend finder or Tinder or whatever. Like, this is Ready to Love. This is supposed to be a show about healthy dating strategies and getting to know different men that are professional Black men and women between the ages around 30 to 50-ish, and really seeing, okay, have you learned from previous mistakes in your previous relationships and your previous marriages? I don't know if we need to do a separate show that is strictly, 30 to 50-year-old singles, and then another show that features divorcees and people with kids. Maybe that could be a possibility, because it seems as though there's different philosophies for, the people who are widowed, the people who are divorced, the people who have kids, versus the people who do not have kids that are just completely single. It just seems like it just always is some mess that is taking place, and it's very exhausting as a viewer. It's very exhausting as a fan to continue to be entertained by this. I don't want to see drama. I don't want to see people, tearing each other apart, women going after each other instead of holding the men accountable, the men, the male host of the show, taking up for the problematic men after a very serious segment about touching somebody inappropriately. Like, what is going on? We have to do better, you guys. This is not a good example of what this show is, and people are going to tune out. People are going to tune out if this continues. So if Miami is ratchet, if it is a mess, if it is even worse than what season 5 was, it might be a wrap. It might be a wrap for the show, you guys, because this is too much. It's absolutely too much. If we're not going to go back to the basics, what's the point? What is the point? At this point, people are just watching just to watch. But they know at this point that none of these connections are real. They know at this point that none of these connections are going to last. They know at this point that some people are overproduced to the point they can't take the people seriously anymore. And now it's to the point where it seems to be, certain people from the cast are allowed to talk. Other people from the cast are not allowed to talk. And so as a result of them not being allowed to talk, they still talk anyways and tell a lot more secrets that they're not supposed to. So it just turns into a complete and utter hot mess and a complete and utter circus and a complete and utter disaster. And we have to do better. We have to do better. We have to have higher expectations for the show. And I just don't know how much longer this show is going to survive. Say what you want, about shows like The Bachelor and like Love Island and some of these other shows. The one thing you can say about them is they have a specific formula, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But at least season 1 and season 2, it was a little more realistic of the connections. There seemed to be a little bit more diligence in truly trying to find people who could potentially be compatible with each other. And there were multiple connections. There were multiple people who were attracted to each other and wanted to date each other, some on the show, some after the show, and this and that. Compared to now, where it just seems like it's just hookup culture. It's hookup culture. There's no serious conversations about anything. And everybody's making sexual innuendos on all their dates. They're having no conversations of substance at all. And the one time they may have a conversation of substance is when they're meeting somebody's friend or their relative. But outside of that, it's all about sex. It's all about how attractive somebody is or isn't, and trying to make their moves, trying to, make little innuendos on these dates. And it's just exhausting, you guys. It is just exhausting because it's not fun anymore. It's not fun to watch. It's just exhausting. And then the biggest issue is all this off the camera stuff. All this off the camera stuff that comes ahead at the reunion or comes ahead after the reunion in some interviews and some postseason press. And it's like, if you're not going to give us a real show, what is the point? Why leave your viewers lost and confused of what people are upset about instead of just telling us what happened? Why isn't there continuous cameras at this point, since everything seems to be popping off camera? Like, it just seems as though, they care more about just doing a new location every 2 years than really trying to cultivate these connections and really try to screen these people. I just don't know where we go from here, you guys. I just don't know where we go from here. Because this was very draining. And season 5 was already draining, but this was like even more draining just because of all of the drama. And you can then see how many of the women, really are girls' girl. However, there seems to be this clique where it's like 2 women and all of the guys that are against all of the women and starting all this drama and all these false narratives and all this other stuff that's taking place. And it completely kills the vibe. It completely kills the vibe because everybody's getting exposed for trying to be strategic, for trying to play a game, for trying to do all of these things and think that they're going to get away with it. And then it all comes out anyways. And then they look terrible trying to lie their way out of it. And it's just embarrassing. It's just embarrassing. It's high school. It's immature. And we have to do something, or this is going to combust and this is not going to last much longer. So let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post new content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.